Thank you, David. Yes,
Collecting numbers.
I'm collecting numbers, yes, okay. There's a lot of data in this presentation and a lot of people collected, but I didn't collect any of it. So I just wanted to make sure that they all got their moments of fame. And I held appointments in all 4 places, so I collected all these numbers. So this is part 1, and part 2 Neil is going to do. I'm going to show you the experimental data that partly inspired the modelling work that Neil and Colin and I have been doing, and then has partly validated it as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about digital image correlation, but we've already seen lots of that, so I'm only got, I think, 2 slides on it. Then I'm going to show you some work we've been doing with thermoelastic stress analysis, then some old photoelastic work which will show you the shear stresses we were just talking about. And then finally some work that we have in progress at the moment on electron backscattering diffraction. So let me start with the DIC. This particular work was done with CT specimens that were 10 millimeters thick. Everything else I'm going to show you, it's same geometry but 2 millimeters thick. Okay? So this is the only relatively thick stuff. We're going to look at an area using 2D DIC with a ring light and a big lens, much the same as David showed, and it's 6 millimeters square. And so these are the only images I'm going to show. I think they pretty much agree with what other people have shown. So this is for 3 crack lengths, 21 millimeters, 23 and a half, and nearly 33 millimeters. And we've capped the colour scale here. This is showing a maximum principal strain. And we worked out where yield should occur, and everything above yield we just put in dark red. Okay? And this is the simplest way we could find to show the extent of the plastic zone around the crack. Because essentially in DIC it doesn't tell you what's elastic and what's plastic, it just gives you the displacement of the strain. So you've got to figure out, okay, where is the boundary? And so this was a crude way of finding.
The maps you created are between 2 cycles, or?
Okay, so these were taken, between 2 cycles.
Okay.
And so we've compared them for the long crack here with von Mises criteria, plane stress and plane strain, and they're on the surface, and so it agrees more closely with the plane stress. And then we also tried plotting Dugdale and Irwin's plastic, usually called radius here, to give you an idea of how they compare with those. And not terribly well in the x direction, but not bad in the y direction. Okay. So let me move on to something different. Thermoelastic stress analysis. So conventionally in thermoelastic stress analysis, you apply cyclic load, you use an infrared camera to record the cyclic variation in temperature generated by the thermoelastic effect. So when you stretch something, you get a small decrease in temperature. When you compress, you get a small increase in temperature. And if you lock your infrared camera into your cyclic load, then you can plot the amplitude of the temperatures, and they're directly proportional to the first strain invariance. And so this is a map here of the first strain invariant collected from a crack tip during fatigue loading. Okay, that's standard thermoelastic stress analysis. So I said you lock your camera signal into the load signal. Okay? And in traditional thermoelastic stress analysis, what you're looking for is adiabatic conditions, so there is no heat transfer that would smear your map of temperatures. Okay? So what we've done here is we've looked at a map of the phase difference between the temperature signal and the load signal. So in the elastic field, we're cycling here at 30 Hertz, I think it was. Out here, it's essentially zero. The green is around zero phase difference. Our crack tip is here. Ahead of the crack, we're out of phase in one sense, and behind the crack, we're out of phase in the other sense. And this is based on some work that John and I did with Paco Diaz about 10 years ago now, maybe. And you can plot along the line where the crack is, and you can see the variation in the phase difference between load and temperature. And you can do a 3D plot. And the idea that Paco came up with in his PhD was that in the plastic zone, you've got heat generation as you apply the load, so it goes out of phase on the upward part of the cycle, if you like. And behind the crack, you get heat generation when the flanks contact with one another, and so you get that's heat generation on the downward part of the load cycle. And that's why behind and ahead of the crack, the out of phase sense is in opposite directions. One's occurring on the upload, the other occurring on the download. And so the crack tip is between the two of them. And so you can find the position of the crack tip using a phase map. Now what Amal Patki, my most recent PhD student, has done, said, okay, well, actually that blue area there, we can use to define the shape of the... oops, I was meant to put those up while I was talking about it. Okay, done that. If we threshold the phase map, we can find the size and shape of the plastic zone. Okay, so that's what he's done here. Just applied a binary threshold to this map, and he's able to define the extent of crack tip plasticity. So he did that during constant amplitude loading, and so we're plotting here delta K obtained by fitting Microscopic's equations to the temperature map. And on this axis over here, the radius of the plastic zone, it's actually average radius taken from those shapes from thresholding. And so, okay, so a lot of data here. Here is the experimental delta K1. These are the experimental delta K2s. This is theoretical delta K, and this is delta K from an FE analysis, not taking any account of closure. So the difference here is the consequence of the closure that's occurring, and this is in aluminium 2024, 2 millimeters thick. And here are the plastic zone radii here, and this is a theoretical calculation of it using Doug Dale's model, plotted onto this axis here. So we're getting plastic zone sizes from about 0.5 millimeter out to about 1 millimeter here. Okay. So then he did a 50% overload for 10 cycles. Okay, so same data again. This is delta K1, this is delta K2, both from experiment. Here is the plastic zone size. This time he's plotted total area rather than average radius. Okay. And the overload was applied here at about just over 25 millimeters, and you can see there's a distinct step in the plastic zone size, and there's a drop in the delta K. And the calculations were done when we finished the overload. So we did the 10 cycles, and then we collected the data. For the TSA, we need to collect data over a few cycles. It's not a single amplitude, it's a few just to get noise out of data. So now if we look at, for the same test, crack length against number of cycles, then here's the constant amplitude piece here corresponding to what's going on over here. The overload's applied just over 25 millimeters, so you see the fall off, and then it begins to pick up again. And if you put a tangent on A versus N here, and you look for when it achieves the same gradient over here, then what you find is that that occurs at around about 30 millimeters. And if you look over here, the plastic zone size at around 30 millimeters has dropped back down to about the size it was before we put the overload in. Okay. So it appears that the crack resumes its growth rate once it's grown through the plastic zone that was created by the overload. So we did that for a range of overloads. So what I'm plotting over here, this is the maximum area of the plastic zone that we measured. This is the percentage overload. And over on this side, this is delta K1 measured versus the percentage overload. And there are 2 plots in each case. So the diamonds here are with a single cycle of overload. And the circles are 10 cycles of overload. So you can see that the maximum area of the plastic zone is bigger as a consequence of a single overload compared to with 10 cycles of overload. And we think that's because we don't make our measurements until we finish doing the overload. And so with the 10 cycles of overload, the crack's actually been accelerated through the enlarged plastic zone, so what we're measuring is sort of slightly post-event plastic zone size. And the same thing, I think, explains what's happening over here. So the circles here are the 10 cycles of overload, and so the lowering of the delta K appears to be less than with the single overload. So in fact it probably creeps back up here during the 9 cycles following the first one. Okay, let me change experimental technique completely. And I should perhaps say that for these first 3 techniques, I'm showing you the data in the reverse order we got it. So we started with photoelasticity, and then we went to thermoelasticity, and then we did some DIC. So this is quite old data now, and this is from a polycarbonate specimen. Polycarbonate exhibits fatigue. The mechanism of crack growth is slightly different, and it occurs through a plastic zone being formed and then crazing occurring in the plastic zone, but otherwise it's analogous. And this is looking at a specimen following fatigue crack growth in an optical microscope. So it's not, this is unloaded. So this is a residual field. And so this is a mosaic of the crack, 20 millimeters of crack growth. And then this is a close-up of this last picture here. So here's the crack tip. We've got a Dugdale-style plastic zone around the crack. You can see that there's some variations in width. You can see some change in the width and thickness in this direction. You can quite clearly see the extent of the plastic zone at the crack tip here. You can see very clear shear bands running along the full length of the crack, these things here. Okay. And there are shear stresses, that's what these fringes along the edge of this shear band are showing. So these are the shear stresses that we were talking about a few minutes ago. So they're not at the crack flanks, they're at the interface between the elastic and the plastic zones. And if we look at images just a bit further back, so for instance there's a little inclusion here in the polycarbonate, you can see how the crack grew down into the inclusion and then out again and carried on. But the elastic plastic zone didn't, or the interface didn't change shape very much in the process. Okay, so the effect on the gross elastic fields around the plastic zone was probably not very much in that instance. And there are various places elsewhere during crack growth where the crack, as it were, wobbles between the shear bands. It grows in a sort of wave down between the shear bands. Okay, now this is hot off the press. This work was done, some of it just in the last month. These are electron backscattering diffraction images for, this is titanium, again 2 millimeter thick, compact tension specimen. It's the same as the polycarbonate in the sense that we've done the test and then we've taken the specimen and we've put it in the SEM. Okay? And what we're looking at is an array of images. So there's a little chart up here. Here's the crack tip. You can see we have all of these images, but I've only shown you half of them. So I've shown you from H up to O and from 1 across to 15. So it's this bit here that I've plotted over here. So the crack is down here. Okay? And if you've got really good eyes, you can see that the crack tip is here.
It's red
okay, so someone said, yeah, we don't know where the crack is. Yeah, we do. Now these, at this scale, these all look the same. But actually, if you go and talk to a material scientist, you'll say, oh no, actually they're a little bit different. And if you look at them really carefully, you can see that the grains that are exhibiting plasticity are a bit fuzzier, is the way it was described to me, than the rest of them. And so I looked at this and said, really? And actually, if you look carefully, there's no plasticity up here, and you can see that they're quite distinct. But if you look down here at the crack, they're not really as distinct. So it is there, but it's damn hard to find. So what I'm going to show you next is these 4. Okay, so they're spaced ahead of the crack. They're at the crack, and then 3 at distances ahead of the crack. And if you look at the scale here, they're over about 2 millimeter distance from the crack tip. Okay. I said, okay, we'll be able to do something with this. If it's going fuzzy, let's do an FFT on the image and look at the FFT. And so that's what we've done. So these are FFTs for these images. Okay. And then if we plot across the middle of the FFT, that's what you get. And then if you measure the width of the half peak height, okay, as a measure of how broad the FFT peak is, and you plot it against R, distance from the crack tip, that's what you get. So this would suggest that when the peak width is broader, you have plasticity present, and when it's narrow, you don't, because that's an indication of the fuzziness, as my material scientist collaborator calls it, of the grains. And so this would suggest that the plastic zone extends to about 1.5 millimeters ahead of the crack tip, and that this is now the elastic region with very little change in the fuzziness of the grains. Okay? And so we're in the process now of defining the whole plastic zone by analysing the whole array that I just showed you. So these are preliminary results that our PhD student has produced. And maybe if the deadline on the IGF FEMS papers is long enough, we can have all the data ready for it. The other thing we're interested in doing is we can, of course, now do DIC on the graininess of the grains as well. So we'll be able to figure out the displacement that's occurring in the grain as well as the next stage of that analysis. So that was my last slide of data. I think these are pretty standard conclusions. The first one's DIC provides deformation data, requires differentiation to strain and interpretation of the data. So it gives nice information, but if you want to look at the elastic plastic zone, you've got to do some work to figure it out. It's a bit of guesswork. TSA can provide a direct indication of the plastic zone site. Because of the way it works, there's a difference in behaviour between the elastic and plastic zones. So you can figure out exactly where the boundary is. For elasticity can nicely reveal the residual strains. You can see the boundary between the elastic and the plastic zones and deduce what's going on in terms of the interaction between them. What I really want to say though is experimental mechanics illuminates shielding mechanisms. It's inspired Neil and I to develop with Colin Christopher at Plymouth a new multi-parameter model that Neil's going to talk about. And the key thing I want to say is everyone's fond of jumping in with DIC, and it's a terrific technique, but it has some limitations. And the nice thing about the techniques we've been using is it allows us to look at the elastic-plastic interface and I think that's of critical importance, particularly knowing what it's. I've got a little add in here, which you perhaps say plasticity induced shielding mechanisms. I'm done.